Thank you, Trace. And we are off across the country. Americans are hitting the roads, planes and trains for the Memorial Day weekend as we kick off the unofficial start of the summer travel season. In case you're counting, a record 43 million of us will be making some sort of a trip. So just how jammed will those roads and airports be? We thought we'd help you out before you get out. Welcome, everyone. I'm Neil Cavuto, and this is your world, and we are all over it, no matter where you're going. With FBN's Jackie DeAngelis on the big getaway, Jeff Locke in Chicago on the big traffic headaches, and meteorologist Rick Reichmuth on some big storms that could be on the way. We begin with Jackie in New York City on how this big travel day and weekend is shaping up. Jackie.
Good afternoon to you, Neil. That's right. AAA is the authority on this, and they are saying that nearly 43 million people, as you said, are going to travel in some way for the long holiday weekend. So the big question is, how are they going to do it? Well, 37.6 million of them are going to hit the road, and that is up about 3.5% from last year. AAA says, watch out what time you're going to travel because peak times are going to be difficult. So try to go off peak if you can. 3.25 million people, they're going to hit the skies. That is up almost 5% from last year. And bus, train, ships, almost 2 million passengers, up about 4%. I'm guessing a few of these folks are going to attend a barbecue. Maybe they're going to host a barbecue. If they are, they're going to have to brace for rising food prices. Let's go through that because hamburgers are up a little more than 1%. If you're serving hot dogs, a little bit less than 5% of an increase from last year. The buns, you're going to get a break there, 0.3% of an increase. Chicken prices are actually down. That might be your best bet. And if you're planning to use lettuce in your meal, look for a whopping 34% increase on lettuce prices. Now, the hot dog prices are up because of the African swine flu epidemic. That's got pork prices going up. And that sharp increase in lettuce is actually due to the E. coli outbreak last year that we saw with romaine. So icebergs shot up, and this is sort of the residual leftover impact of that, Neil.
All right, Jackie, have a good weekend yourself. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now let's go to Jeff Locke, who is getting a bird's eye view of holiday traffic in Chicago because he's in the middle of it. Hey, Jeff.
And just like they said, Neil, you know, about 2:30, 3 o'clock local time here in Chicago, it was going to get bad. And sure enough, by golly, it's starting to get bad. Not just Chicago. As you report, about 37 million people on the roads of that 43 million total. That is an increase of about 4% compared to last year, and the second busiest day on the roads, Memorial Day weekend, since 2005. National gas prices, though, kind of cooperating. We've had a run-up, as you know, most recently. We're at, I think it's, what is the number? 288, I think, right now. We were 223, as low as 223 as recently as January. That was the lows, but up about 30% since then. But if you look at the 1 year, and that's going to give you a little more cheer, if you look at the 1 year, you see that 1 year ago, Memorial Day weekend, we were actually cheaper than we are right now. So that's a positive. As I said, as we started, the guys at AAA said 3 o'clock local time, which it is right here in the Midwest right now on Interstate 294. It's going to start getting crowded. In fact, it is. According to AAA, today, the worst places to drive at this hour, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles. I'd leave you on a positive note, which is, Neil, if it wasn't for this booming economy, everybody with jobs and money in their pocket, by golly, we wouldn't have such a crowded road, would we? There's your positive.
I love you to death. I want you to look at the road, though, just to be safe.
How can I not look at you if I have the option?
There you go. Jeff, thank you very, very much. I love that guy. All right. Meanwhile, we got storm clouds on the horizon for a lot of travelers. It's certainly going to affect them in the Midwest and the Northeast. Rick Reichmuth following it all from the Fox Weather Center. What are we looking at, Rick?
It makes me nervous every time watching Jeff do that.
My gosh.
I don't like it. All right, but it's pretty cool. Here you go. Big storms again today and tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. We still continue to have it. 3 different areas that we're watching for tornadoes today. One across Illinois, another one down here from Kansas, down across parts of West Texas. One tornado warning right now outside of that watch box just north of the Big Bend. We've had a lot of tornadoes over the last week, and in fact, some of those tornadoes have caused major problems, obviously, that we've seen those problems. But you get an idea of exactly where that is from from parts of West Texas. Then a lot of wind reports here across parts of the Great Lakes, and then another tornado yesterday across areas just to the north of D.C. That exact pattern is not going to change. This high pressure is really strong, and it's not letting anything kind of budge out of here. It's also keeping things really hot across the southeast. Feels like mid-July, and it has for days. It's going to continue all weekend long, unfortunately. Then back behind this, that kind of storm track just continues to bring round and round of rain there with the severe weather. And that goes all the way through Monday and into Tuesday. Today, we have this severe threat. Everywhere you see that yellow. Tomorrow, even a bigger chance. This is tonight's tornado threat, I should say. And then tomorrow, a bigger chance of severe weather, especially across western Kansas and back again across the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma. Along with that severe weather, we continue to get the rain. This picture here, especially across Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri, has been incredible, these rainfall totals. That's why we've seen all of those flooding pictures. But take a look at how extensive this is. We still have flooding going on across the rivers way up to the north and across the Dakotas and Minnesota. All that water has to funnel down in towards the Mississippi eventually. That we saw a crest about a month ago. We're seeing more crest of that again in kind of top 5 to top 2 range. And then take a look at this. Through Monday, more rain, the exact same spot throughout the much better part of the next week. More here across the south again. So we have a major problem for our farmers, Neil. I'm very concerned about this with the planting season and the fields being so wet. And then obviously the flooding that's going on, causing major problems for so many folks.
Yeah, you think about what they're dealing with separately, the trade issue, and now Mother Nature.
Exactly.
All right, Rick, thank you very, very much, my friend. Have a good weekend yourself. Rick Rackmuth. All right, so what do you need before you go? One of the calmest travel advisors and experts I know is with us, Lee Abamonte. I'm not just saying that because he's of Italian descent, but he knows what he speaks. Lee, good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Let's get right to it. I guess it's a given that you just allow time for delays and hurry up and wait, right?
Yeah, I mean, always, but especially on holiday weekends, get to the airport early.
What is early these days?
They say an hour, right, for a domestic flight, but on a holiday weekend, I would get there at least 2 hours early. I'm flying tomorrow. I'll be getting there at least 2 hours early for sure. And, wear your patience pants because the airports are going to be a mess. You just know that's going to be the case. So be patient. Go in, with an open mind. Get there early and you should be okay. And just remember that airlines are made up of people and people don't react well to getting yelled at. So just be cool.
Yeah, and with TSA people poking and prodding, there is that. Now, so get to the airport early, and this patient thing, I think, which is a good piece of advice. People forget that. We're all kind of in the same boat or airplane, right?
Yeah, I mean, we tend to think that airlines are like this big monstrosity of a thing, but it's really just made up of people. And whether you're on the plane or at the airport, you just be patient and just act like you would with your friends. Be polite. That's all.
All right. Now, one of the ideas, and I know you've talked about this in the past, consider the driving option. Now, it depends on how far you originally intend to go. If you're in New York, you want to go to Los Angeles, that might be tough. But what's the rule of thumb on that?
For me, if it's within 500 miles, I would consider driving.
Really?
Because especially if you're traveling with a family, I mean, you can save some money, obviously. You don't have to deal with the airport. You might have to deal with traffic. But if you are going to drive, leave early. I mean, get up early. Leave at 6 in the morning. If you're going to wake up tomorrow.
I can't get my kids up before noon. It's not an option. All right, that's actually a very good idea. Also, you say consider going a day early or even coming back a day later so you're not fixed in that time period, right?
Correct. Like if you're going to leave today after work or early tomorrow morning, that might not be the best idea. I'm flying tomorrow at about 4 o'clock just to hopefully avoid as much as I possibly can of the holiday traffic. And then
but by the same token, you miss a chunk of the holidays.
Correct.
Does that bug you?
But instead of coming back Monday, maybe come back Tuesday or Wednesday.
I got it.
Go a day earlier or later or come back a day earlier or later.
Very good. One thing that's a very good advice, you've talked about this before, too. We think of the nearest airport or the biggest airport, but there are alternative airports. Sometimes people don't know right in their neighborhood or nearby or that have a lot less traffic.
Exactly. If you're here in New York, I mean, consider, obviously you have Newark and Kennedy and LaGuardia, but then there's also Westchester. And if you're in Long Island, there's Islip or even Newburgh further away. Or if you're in LA, instead of LAX, think of Burbank or even Ontario or Orange County. There's always another option.
Chicago's Midway.
Midway or
right?
Oakland and San Francisco. So if you're in a major airport, sometimes it's worth it just to avoid the hassle.
Now, a lot of people don't like that because they say, yeah, but it takes me longer to get to the airport. The flip side is, yeah, but it takes me longer once I'm there. Right?
Exactly. I mean, I'd rather be in my car listening to the radio, even if I'm in a little bit of traffic or it takes longer, than be sitting in a line at the airport just wanting to just shoot myself, you know?
All right. Thank you very, very much. Or drive just looking at the camera and not, let's say, at the road in front of you, like our Jeff Locke. What is he thinking, right? Thank you very much, my friend. Of the safe travels this weekend. All practical and good advice.